Hi, I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. The tea today is Yorkshire Gold, and it is very hot. This video is late because I'm going to try to make 2 videos at one time, and then this goes out late, and then the other one goes out like another day. Because I know not all of you are interested in my awkward adventures in Starfinder. So I'm going to talk a little bit about new board games here at the beginning of this video, and then I'm going to talk about Starfinder. And if you don't care about that, then you can just go wait until the next video comes out, which will be more board game things. So anyhow, I got some new games. I don't buy games like binge buy games or buy bunches of games very often, but lately I have gotten some games. Prime Day was recently Amazon's big sale thingy, and they had Lost Ruins of Arnak on sale, and it was a deep discount. And then on top of that, at least at the time that I bought it, it had a coupon as well. So the actual total price for it was almost, but not quite, almost half price, which is not bad. This game has been on my radar for a very long time, and it seems like something that we would like, but I've been hesitant to get it because it's a big game. It's not the price that held me back, although that probably didn't help. I probably would have gone ahead and got it if it had been like super cheap, because hey, I went ahead and got it because it was super cheap. But yeah, it's a big game, and as you may have noticed, we play a lot of small games because it's very easy, no matter what else we're doing on the weekend, to table a small game. Lay it out on the table, set it up, play it, maybe even play it a couple of times, and go on and do other things, or come home from doing other things, or sit down at the table from doing other things and play a game. And big games are harder to table. So I tend to be, no matter how much I think I might like them and no matter how good they are, I tend to dither and hold out a long time before I get a game that's kind of big. And that's going to take a little bit of time to play because I know it's not going to hit the table very often. So I kind of lean into the things that we're going to like and that are going to see a lot of play time. And then I tend to be very, very choosy about those big day-long game things like Robinson Crusoe. Gosh, I thought about that for, probably over a year before I got it. And Lost Ruins of Arnak is going to be kind of a biggie game. It certainly looks big on the table, I'll tell you that. And I also, just quite by accident, stumbled across a copy of Forbidden Sky online. And it's out of print, and I've been kind of looking for it because Robert and I both love Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert. They're just really fun games that we enjoy a lot. They're co-op games, and this is the 3rd game in the series. Each game is similar in terms of, at least for Forbidden Desert and Island and Desert, but they're similar in the mechanics, but they're a little bit different. And what I've heard is that they tend to get harder and trickier as they go on. And certainly I think Desert was harder than Island. And Forbidden Sky is the 3rd one in the series. It's got a rocket ship in it. So, it's like, of course, we're going to be all in. It's got a rocket ship. So, yeah, and there is and I can't get the lid for this thing off. You may have to wait, for another video to see the rocket ship. There we go. Pop the rocket ship out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So anyhow, yeah, we're looking forward to that. And there's another game in the series coming out later this year called Forbidden Jungle. So that should be fun too. I've got some games that are in the mail. In fact, I ordered a Button Shy that was a Game of the Week sale last week called Potions Class, and it should have gotten here Saturday for us to come home and play after Starfinders, but it got rerouted to another city in the mail, and it's supposed to get here today. Really, it is. And also a Kickstarter is fulfilled. It's en route, and that is the Canadian game Muskoka, which I am really looking forward to. And one more thing, you may have noticed we've started a new Scrabble game, and sometimes the game shows up in these videos and sometimes it doesn't. It kind of, the camera angle changes at various points in time. But some of you may have glimpsed an 8-letter word on the previous game and thought, oh wow, somebody got like the total 7-letter score thing for clearing out your tiles. But no, we did not. What happened is, I'll put a little insert in there so you can see, is that we had both and shorn on the board, and my very clever husband spotted that if he added an E, he could connect them for bother. So he stuck the E in there, connecting both and shorn for bother, and then later I added the ED for bothered. So that's how we ended up with an 8-letter word on the board without actually getting that whole clearing out your tile thing. We still have not done that. Neither one of us have used all of our letters in a single turn. So that's something to look forward to. It's like, but gosh, the way we play, I don't think it's that likely. But anyhow, let's get to Starfinder. We played another game of Starfinder. It was not at our local game store. We actually had to drive a little ways to get to it. It was about a half an hour away. Parking was horrible. So, I mean, when you add in circling to find some place to park, that made it, that brought it up to that half-hour mark. It was at a board game cafe that I didn't even know about. So yeah, I was kind of excited to see the board game cafe, and it's a neat little place, and it was just packed with gamers Saturday. So that was kind of good to see and kind of cool, discovering new places and meeting new people. One of the people at the table was somebody that we had met at our friendly local game store for the commencement, but he was not the one that played with us. He helped me with my character sheet, and then he peeled off to play on the second table. So, or the first table and we were the second table, kind of depends upon how you look at it. But we had 5 of us plus the GM. So good little party to track down a fugitive on Akiton. So I think we are well and truly down the RPG rabbit hole at this point. We're kind of hooked on this Starfinder thing, as you will see later. We had, Robert and I, we were both mechanics. He is a Yosoki, and he has an exocortex that's built in, and I am, and he's also got the grifter theme, and I am a Damaya Lashunta with a drone. I have my exocortex separate. So that means that, you know, the drone can always be rebuilt, and it's got its own pool of hit points, which for a low-level player, I really appreciated. So we're both mechanics. I am a Starfarer, Spacefarer, something like that for my theme. We had a Dragonkin. I am not sure what his specialty was, or maybe my memory is just failing me at this point. It's been, what, 2 whole days? 3? No, 2. Anyhow, we also had the human technomancer, who was the guy that we had met before. Nice guy. Actually, all of the people were really nice. It was a completely, aside from him, was a completely new set of people. And actually, because we didn't play with him before, it was a completely new set of people to play with. We had a Solarian. He was a bug, not a Sheeran bug. He was some other kind of bug I can't remember the name of right now. It was one of the more unusual, out-of-the-way kind of creatures. But he was also a Solarian. And we had Robert and I, who were the 2 mechanics. But the Technomancer and the Solarian, I think, were both level 2. I'm not sure if the Dragonkin was 1 or 2. But Robert and I, of course, were still level 1 because this was only our second game. So we will not hit level 2 until after our third game. Okay, two of the players discovered after the game started that they'd already played it. One had GM'd it, and one had just already played it before, because it's like this, wait a minute, this is very, very familiar, so they started looking through stuff. So they recused themselves from making decisions, like major decision-making process for the party, because they knew the story. They knew what would happen. They knew where we were going to go and what we were going to encounter and who we were going to encounter. So that meant that the major decisions of the expedition were made by two newbies and one experienced player. But it worked out okay. It actually worked out really well. The Dragonkin was a local player. This was his last game, which was sad. He was going to be moving away, and he was also a venture officer for the local Starfinder Society. So there was a lot of going away kind of stuff with him, but it was really, really good to meet him, and another really nice guy. And I keep saying nice guy. Yes, I was the only girl there. But back to the Fugitive on Akiton. The game went really fast. I mean, at sometimes it felt like, I was actually surprised that it only lasted 2.5 hours. And I was kind of surprised by that because it felt longer because I was so immersed in it. It didn't feel too long or anything, but it was only a 2.5 hour game. The GM had blocked out a 4-hour block for it. It's just a scenario. It's from the Year of Scoured Stars scenarios. It was the one right after the commencement, actually. So the GM told us after the game that there should have been 3 combats in the game, and there wasn't. Because we talked our way out of one. There was this 12-foot tall native with 4 arms, because that's one of the natives of Akiton. Akiton is kind of a rough place, and it's not prosperous. I think it's kind of an interesting location, but it's kind of a dangerous location. I was slightly apprehensive about it being a level 1 player because it's perhaps a little bit more lawless than some of the other places we could have been sent on a mission. There's no central government. And it's kind of a fallen on hard times mining planet, although it does have some small settlements and larger city-states occupied by various different races. But we didn't really want to, there's like a big dude, kind of a mafioso type, and a couple of vest thugs. And I was just thinking, and it's like they were kind of leaning on us, and I was thinking, I don't really want to fight these guys, and what they want from us, as Robert pointed out in character as Filch, the little rat boy, as he pointed out, we could make a deal because what they wanted was not actually completely in opposition to what we wanted. If we negotiated things correctly and could come to an understanding and an agreement, then everybody wins. We could, both the big, scary, thuggish people who were heavily armed could get what they wanted, and we could get what we wanted. And the negotiations went back and forth a little bit, but we were able to come to an understanding that did not result in any of us getting injured or killed. So yeah, we managed to talk our way out of a sketchy situation, and but you can't talk yourself out of everything. We got into, there were 3, as he said, 3 potential combat situations, and we talked ourselves out of one with the locals. But, other encounters with the locals, we were not so lucky. I tried very hard to talk myself out of the situation, but you know, not every local you encounter is amenable to that, and we are trying to find somebody who doesn't want to be found, and that's also a consideration, as there are also people, whereas some of the people we talked to were very eager to help us find him because they had their own reasons. There were other people that were very eager to keep us from finding him. So we had two different groups of locals to deal with, and we did end up getting into a little bit of a set too. I don't think the combat on that was like super short, just like really, really short. There was one person, there was one hostile and a couple of minions in the back of the room, I think we took one shot. I think I know the dragonkin jumped over the bar, but I don't remember if he hit or missed. But I mean, the person was just like not budging or not taking damage. So I mean, and Robert, he was in the back, so he took out one of the minions. And so that left me still nose to nose with the person I could not negotiate with. And so I thumped her with my battle staff, and she went down like a ton of bricks. I got a nat 20 with maximum damage, and that was the end of the fight. I'm not even sure everybody in our party got a hit on someone, you know? I think there may have been one person in our party that didn't get to thump someone in that situation, but it was all over very quickly. But when we finally found the dude, though, that was a difficult situation. And I mean, of course, he's not going to come quietly if we're going out to get a fugitive. So, I mean, it was a protracted battle. But eventually we prevailed because we are Starfinders. But it was interesting, and it was fun, just a tremendous amount of fun. There was one sad, bad note. I regret to inform you that I did not die. Spoiler alert, I did not die. Nobody in our party died, though our technomancer did get kind of roughed up pretty badly. But I regret to inform you that my drone Sparky, he got hit by a laser cannon trap, and he's only got one hit point remaining. He's still operational. Brave little drone. But yeah, that was nasty. So anyhow, and what do you do if your drone gets destroyed? Well, you see, the drone is kind of a special deal for a mechanic. The drone is what houses our exocortex. Robert is also a mechanic. He has an exocortex too. Not everybody has them, just mechanics. And his is built in, and I opted for a drone, because a drone has its own pool of hit points and resolve points. Not a lot, but still. It meant that I could send something ahead of me, and that it would, to some extent, protect me. In the previous scenario, my drone did not take any hits and got to thump things with its battle baton. So, I mean, that was kind of nice. But yeah, it just got brutalized in this one. But what happens in this case, I read up on it and I thought, oh wow, this sounds like a really good deal. And that's why I got the drone, is that drones can always be rebuilt. Now, there's this thing where if you've got a level 1 character, you can change anything on the character until you level up to level 2. You can just like completely make them over into different races or whatever. But the drone thing is separate from that. Drones house the exocortex. Mechanics always have exocortexes. You make a decision. It's built in or it's a drone, and that decision is permanent. So, because I chose to have a drone, I will always have a drone. If the drone is destroyed, the exocortex will always remain. It is my exocortex, and I can use my custom mechanic skills and custom rig to rebuild a drone, and I can make it completely different if I want to. And the drone as a as a thing for a level 1 player, like I said, it's got its own pool of hit points. And so that kind of helps. You've got something between you and a bad guy that can take actions. So it's kind of good in that way. But as I level up, I not only get better, my drone gets better too. I can buy more shiny stuff for it, and the drone can do more things. And so my exocortex and exocortex housing in the drone, it levels up as I do, at least as I understand it. I mean, I'd look into it, maybe it's not going to be that great, but I can continue to improve the drone so that the drone, will be more battle hardened as I level up. So that as I level up, I will have a more powerful robotic assistant who will be able to do all kinds of cool computer stuff as opposed to just thumping things with a tactical baton or getting thumped by things. But yeah, Sparky is gone. A moment of silence for Sparky. Actually, Sparky is not quite gone. He's still got 1 hit point. So the future for Sparky is, in the next scenario, if there's a next scenario, and I'll get to that in a minute, in the next scenario, I can run Sparky out in front of me. Sparky can take hits and be hit. His 1 hit point goes away, Sparky is destroyed, and then I can just rebuild Sparky bigger and better. I've got a little bit of money saved up. I can put more stuff on him. He doesn't actually have a camera now, so I mean, he's basically flying under my control based upon my understanding of the area that he's going through. So, I mean, it'd be nice for him to have a camera, otherwise he has the potential of just being like a Roomba, like bumping into walls. So, yeah, but mostly he's just like flown down a straight passage so far, so that hasn't been a problem. I'm just going like, go. Go, my little drone. But he's not actually a flying drone. I've got him on feet, but I could remake him as a hover drone. So, yeah, there are all kinds of options that I could do. I'm not sure if I want to go hover or not, but I've got time to think about it. Possibly a lot of time. And that kind of goes to the future. Right now, there are no more scheduled low-level games anywhere in our area. There's one at our friendly local game store, which is, about 4 levels above us. It will take me over a year if I get 1 game per month. It will take me over a year to level up to the point where I'd be able to get in that moderately low level game. It's just not quite as low as I am. It's not a super high game. But I mean, yeah, and that's next month. So there's nothing for Robert and I. Nothing on the calendar at all. There were two 1 through 4 level scenarios within a couple of weeks of each other in our general geographic area. But nothing at our friendly local game store for us, and nothing anywhere in the general area, not on the calendar now, at least. I checked the calendar, I checked it this morning, in fact, thinking that after the weekend was over, perhaps the calendar would fill up with stuff, because right now, for Starfinder at least, it looks pretty bleak. I mean, there's a lot of Pathfinder activity in the area, but I'm not interested in Pathfinder. I'm here for the space and the space exploration. I want to be on space stations and go to planets and fly starships. Dragonkin. I had a Dragonkin in my party. I got nothing against dragons. But, I don't want to play. And I mean, there is magic in Starfinder. It's kind of a magic and technology merging kind of thing. But I don't want to, and there are dwarves and elves and, legacy characters that have come over from Pathfinder into the world of Starfinder, which is far into Pathfinder's future. But I don't want to play like in a system where it's goblins and elves and we're going to caves and looking for treasure and meeting dragons and orcs and stuff like that. I want to go to space. So, Starfinder. we will have to wait and see if more games, and see our ability to level up and get games that there aren't very many low-level games, and our ability to level up to where we can get games that are higher levels, like 4 through 7 or 9 through 12 or something like that. Our ability to level up to get to those levels, to get those games, is completely dependent upon there being a steady flow of low-level games for us to get beyond the low-level games. So, I mean, even at the rate of 1 game per month, it would still take us over a year to get to level 5. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. But if we don't get a game every month, then we could be talking years plural until we get out of the basement, so to speak. So yeah, we're just gonna have to kind of wait and see. But we're not exactly discouraged. So after this game, Saturday, on Sunday, we didn't play any board games on Sunday because Sunday was stacked up running errands. And we try not to stack up too many errands on weekends so we have time for fun stuff. But sometimes it doesn't work out. You know, sometimes there are things that you just can't quite get done during the week, so you do them on the weekend. So Sunday was just errands and chores. And in running errands, Robert dropped by our friendly local game store and came home with 2 more Starfinder books. So yeah, it's not just me. Robert is all in on the Starfinder thing. We picked up Pact Worlds, which I don't think I have the PDF of. I got the Humble Bundle PDF the last time, digital bundle, the last time they did it. I don't think Pact Worlds is in it, and you may notice this is the compact version. Bookmark, free Munchkin bookmark. I'm not sure what that's all about. And he picked up the Alien Archive, which I do have a digital copy of, but we have found that actually for practical use, those digital things, which have like no chapters, no bookmarks, no highlight, you can't highlight anything, you can't mark chapters, it's got no indexing or anything. Those things, they're just like massive chunky PDF files that they just, in practical terms, you can use them, you know, and they're not searchable. I mean, you can use them, but they're just really hard to use practically. So he wanted Alien Archive. And then he got to looking at stuff, and Pact Worlds looks really good. So I've now made a list. Of cool Starfinder books that I want. So yeah, we're getting into Starfinder, and both of those are the compact version. After our first game, we got the core rule book and the beginner's box, and we took our little minis from the beginner's box with us. Not minis, pawns from the beginner's box with us when we played Saturday, and that was kind of fun. So that's it. We're kind of all in on this Starfinder thing. And how all in we are very much depends upon having GMs running games of the appropriate level for us to be able to level up. And because it's all very level dependent. So yeah, and I mean, that is kind of a thing. If you've only got GMs to run, enough GMs to run X number of games per month, like a couple of games per month, and you've got players like at level 1 up to 20, then getting games that are level appropriate, you know, for everybody in the area, no matter what their level, that's kind of a tricky proposition depending upon how many people are willing to GM games. So we'll have to see how things shake out. I like both of the game masters that we've had for the 2 games that we played. They were both really good, and we had a huge amount of fun playing. I like all the players that I've met too. There's a good bunch of Starfinders in our area, and I'd like to play more games with them. So here's hoping Too bad I didn't get any spell abilities. Perhaps I could cast the spell to get more games. Anyhow, I'm just looking at this here. I think that is all of the stuff that I wanted to mention about Starfinder. And we're going to try to play more, but this channel is going to mostly probably go back to just being about board games rather than RPGs. And I'm going to try to record a second video, which is why you may see me in the same t-shirt for the next one, Godzilla and the Big Wave at Kanagawa. So, yeah, I'm going to try to record a second video that's going to be more board gamey, so stay tuned for that. It's been fun sitting around the table just talking with y'all about stuff. We had so much fun. I tell you, I couldn't believe it when I smacked her with my battle staff, which has knockdown for a critical hit, and she went down like a ton of bricks. Because, you know, I mean, level 1 melee weapons, and I had a gun that I used for the larger battle, but you know, I don't want to shoot people if I don't have to. But I mean, a level 1 character, I just didn't think I would ever be able to do anything. I always feel like that in a combat situation. I'm just keeping my head down and chipping away at them. And yeah, we'll see what I can do with Sparky in the future. But it's been fun. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for all of you new subscribers who are still sticking around. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all next time around the table.